one chord as kind of a Roman numeral 1. Just kind of works out that way. So this is where we start with the language of, hey, let's play a 1-4-5 chord progression. Or, hey guys, instead of a 1-4-5, let's play a 1-2-5. Or sometimes we'll say a 1-2 minor 5 progression. Let's play a 2 minor to a 5. Let's go up to the 6 minor and then back to 1. And again, understand that sometimes we're referring to chords. Other times we may be referring to, hey guys, why don't you add a 2 to that chord? Meaning not a 2 chord, but go ahead and add the note. If it's a C chord, C, E, G, maybe the arranger or you might say to your band, hey guys, let's add a 2 to that C chord, meaning you're going to go ahead and stick a D in that chord as well, and that will give you sort of a C2 sound. And again, as we give a lot of examples on this DVD, it'll make sense. Okay, Brian, what's a 1-4-5 in the key of A?
A, D, E.
Right on. What's a 6-2-5-1 in the key of G?
E, A, D, G.
Yay! Right on. So is it important to know this stuff? Do you use it? Do you actually use it?
Especially if you don't know the songs and you haven't played too much with the worship leader. He just tell you real quick, okay, the song is going to be like 1-5-6 minor basically, and you just know right away.
Right. Cool, man. Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.
We're going to start in the key of C. And again, we'll play that scale. Let me just play a C scale. Again, we're familiar with the concept of a scale. And I'll start with 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or 8 and 1 are the same. Remember, that's the octave. By the way, this is my friend Don Harris, who's assisting me here on the keyboard. He plays everything, bass, keyboard, guitar. Amazing. So what we want to do is go from playing a scale, one note at a time, to actually playing this chord scale after we just walked through how to build these chords. So let's try this together. We'll just start very basic. C chord, and that's 1, and say the numbers out loud as you play it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, now we are cheating a little bit. Normally the 7 is a diminished chord, but to our ears that sounds too much like jazz. So in most pop music, or especially church choruses, modern worship, generally that 7th chord or the diminished chord is replaced or substituted by a 5 chord over a 7 in the bass. Okay, a 5 chord, you know the fraction, the 5 with the fraction, and then the bass note behind that. Let's go through the process again in a different key. Let's take the key of D, and I just wrote the scale out there. So there's D, so we have the D, E, and this actually, using this formula, remember, whole step, half step, whole step, then whole step, half step, using that formula, okay? If we do that, then in the key of D, F is not just an F natural, it's an F sharp. So we have to put a sharp there. That's just where it falls. So D, E, F, G, and then A, B, and then there's a whole step here. Well, from B to C is only a half step, so we have to make it a C sharp. Okay, so that's a C sharp, and then it's whole step, half step. So between C sharp and D is only a half step. Understand it? So whole step, See, from E to F is only a half step. But we have to follow that formula to construct a major scale. Whole step, half step. So that's why we end up with these two sharps. Okay, an F sharp and a C sharp. So now let's construct our triads from the D major scale. So we're going to go D, skip E, so D, F sharp, and A. D, F sharp, and A gives us a D major chord. Okay? Let's do the same thing with E, starting on the second degree of the scale. Trying to get into the lingo here. Second degree of the scale, E, we skip one and go G, and then to B. So E, G, B, that's the root, the third, and the fifth of the chord. And E, G, B, if you play that on a piano or guitar, again, it's going to give you an E minor sound. Okay? Let's try the same process, starting on the third degree of the scale, F sharp, A, C sharp. If we play that, that'll give us a F sharp minor sound. Getting a little tight there, but so D, E minor, F sharp minor. So this would be the 1 chord in the key of D. This would be the 2 chord, which is usually minor when it's diatonic, when they all belong to the same key center and they're all derived from the major scale. And then this would be a 3 minor. All right, let's start on the G. G, B, D. That's a 4 chord. A, C sharp, E gives us an A. So now we have our 4 chord and our 5 chord using the same construction method as before. Now let's start on the 6th degree of the scale. 1, 2, 3. Remember, these are the notes. And then back to 1. So we're starting on the 6th degree of the scale in the key of D. Starting on a B, we're going to go B, skip B, D, and then F sharp. Remember, we carry on that scale. So that would give us a B minor. And that's consistent with what we said. Usually the 2, the 3, and the 6 are minor if they're diatonic. And then we have the C sharp diminished, which, as we said, for our purposes, we're going to substitute a 5 chord over a 7 in the bass. Just that note. So in this case, it would be an A chord over a C sharp in the bass. And that's an inversion, and we're going to get to that. So there's our 7, and then back to our root here, which would be D. So again, let's look at the guitar and the piano. So guitarist, go ahead and play this. We're going to play D, and then the 2 chord in the key of D is E minor. The 3 chord, or 3 minor, is an F sharp minor 7, or F sharp minor. The 4 chord would be a G. 5 chord would be an A. 6 chord would be B minor. And then the 5 over 7, or we'll just say 7 for now, would be A over C sharp, back to the D. Isn't that nice? So again, we're in a different key, but the numbers feel the same. Let's play the 1 again. 1, call out the numbers with me. Go to the 2, 2, feels the same. Here comes a 3 minor. 3, 4, 4, 5, feel the 5. Up to the 6. Up to the 7 there. And it wants to resolve to the 1. See, the 5 always wants to be resolved. Same with that 7. That half tone right there always wants to be resolved. There's something about the quality of that chord and the quality of that interval, that half step, that makes, we want to hear it resolved. So. Hey, desperation guys, turn around for a minute.
Oh, camera! Whoa, put that away.
Okay, ready? You're in the key of G. 6251. Key of G. 6251.
E minor, A minor, D, G. But what is that?
You're showing off, man.
Oh yeah.
You're showing off, Glenn.
Sorry.
Okay, let's do another one for Glenn.
Dumb.
Okay, you're in the key of D.
Stupid.
Glenn,
Key of D. 145.
D.
G.
You're 4. Hey.
A. One of the concepts in good songwriting is repetition, repetition, repetition. When we have a good idea and we just repeat that, it just locks it into the listener's mind. So at the risk of being redundant, I want to repeat this process one more time. We'll take the key of E, and we'll construct our chords from an E major scale. All right? So I've already written out an E major scale here. Actually, I'll just go ahead and put E, normally without any accidentals. You know, that the little sharp or flat in front of a note is called an accidental. Okay, interesting name. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and then back to E again. But again, when we're constructing a major scale, we have to follow the formula of whole step, half step. Remember that? So whole step, half step. So from E to F, that's only a half step. And we need a whole step there. So what do we have to do to the F? We need to go up one more half step and make it an F sharp. So we'll put the sharp right before the note here. Okay, then we need another whole step. So F sharp to G is only a half step. So we have to do something to the G. So we'll go up a half step from G, and this will become a G sharp. That way we get whole step, and we have to indicate that here with a sharp. And now G sharp to A is only a half step, so we're good there. So E, F sharp, G sharp, A, and then we connect these with a whole step. From A to B, that's a whole step, so we're okay there. Now we want a whole step, half step. These are called tetrachords, see? They're mixed. And then we unite them with a whole step. But again, that's go to the booklet and delve further into that. But from B to C is only a half step, and we need a whole step. So we need to do something to the C sharp. We'll take it up a half a step and make the C sharp, make the C a C sharp. And we'll indicate that right here on our staff. And then we need another whole step, but C sharp to D is only a half step, so we have to do something to the D. Raise it up a half step, make it a D sharp. So now we've got F sharp, G sharp, C sharp, D sharp. So on a piano, that's 4 black keys. All right, and then finally D sharp to E is a half step, so we're okay there. Let me just get rid of this for clarity's sake. Now we have our E major scale. Now, typically, you wouldn't see these accidentals there on a piece of sheet music. Typically, they'd have the 4 sharps written out at the beginning of the music, indicating this is in the key of E. And those are the key signatures that we discussed a little bit earlier. This is how we come up with the key signature concept. But now let's build some triads off of this E major scale. So we're going to go E, you know the process now, so follow it. E, we skip that and go to G sharp, we skip that and go to the B. So E, G sharp, and B. Let's go ahead and fill this in. E, G sharp, and B makes a E major chord. Okay? Now, starting on the second degree of the scale, F sharp, A, and C sharp makes a F sharp minor chord. And we just fill that in. We've all seen that, even if you don't play piano or read music, we've all seen these chords on sheet music and go, wow, what are they? Well, those are chords when you see them lined up like that. Now let's do the same formula, G sharp, B, and D sharp. So G sharp, B, and here's D sharp right there. See that? Of course, I had to do the C sharp here. It's kind of getting all, looks like tic-tac-toe, but you get the idea here. F sharp, so the third chord would be a G sharp minor. I mean a G minor, yeah, G sharp minor, sorry. And then our 4 chord would be A. That's like a Canadian chord, A. Okay, and then our 5 chord, constructing it the same way, just skipping every other note, gives us a B. And then our C sharp turns into a C sharp minor. I'm just going to go quickly now. Our D sharp diminished, which we're substituting with a 5/7. And then back to our 1 chord. It's our E. So this is our 1 chord. Right down here, 1 chord, our 2 minor, our 3 minor, our 4, our 5, our 6 minor, and then we'll do like our 5/7 and back to our 1 chord. 1 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, the 2 chord, the 6 chord, the 3 chord, the 5 chord, back to the 1 chord. That's the language. Now we're starting to speak the language. It's like learning a foreign language. First you learn words at a time, then you learn to construct phrases. And before you know it, as you start using this language of music, you'll be speaking fluent modern harmony.
Yo.
All right, man, you're in the key of E.
Yes.
What's 1, 6, 4, 5?
Let's see. E. What is E? C sharp.
Right?
E, C sharp, A, B.
Cool,
Yes.
cool. All right, you're in the key of G. What's 1, 4, 5?
You're making me sweat.
You make me.
G, C, D.
Okay, you're in the key of A. What's 1, 5, 4?
A, E, D.
All right, so do you use this stuff ever? Do you ever
Absolutely,
communicate
yeah.
this stuff?
If you talk by numbers, when you're talking to the band, you can go, that's a 6 minor there.
Right.
And then it doesn't matter what key you're in. You can, it's totally flexible. So you don't have to go and think different chords.
Right.
You just kind of, guitar, you can get the shapes and...
Exactly.
So,
cool, man.
I hope this helps.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to look at the key of E, which is good for you guitar players. It's good for us to get this one into our heads. Okay, so we've got the key of E, and I'm going to do slightly different voicings here, but let's go over it together, Don. We'll go key of E, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, now I want to talk about a substitution here. We went 1, 2, and a 3 minor. Sometimes in place of a 3 minor chord, a chord that's a little bit more common is a 1 chord over the 3rd in the bass. See, and that's what it sounds like. So since a 1 chord is 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. So we're playing a 1, but it's an inversion. So we're playing a 1 chord with the 3rd of the chord in the bass. So it ends up sounding like 1, and then here's the 3rd in the bass, and then 4. And you hear that a lot on a walk up. For example, da 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 to the 4. Very common. Or another example, I'm forgiven, da, da, da. To a 1 over 3, 4, to a 5. Very common. Here we're going to go 1 over 3. There's the 4 to the 5. And now let's go 5 back to 1. A lot of times we see these fractions in songbooks. We see C over E or C/G, etc. So I just wanted to clear that up. It's always the chord. The top part of the fraction is basically the right hand of a piano, and then the bottom half is the bass note. So a C over E would be this. And, we're familiar with it. Just adds a lot of emotion. If we were to do here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. I mean, that just sounds pretty dull compared to here I am to worship. Inversion, C over E. Now we're going to play an F over its 3rd. Say that you're my God. They just add a lot of emotion. Look at the song Offering. If you just did, the sun cannot compare to the glory of your love. It's just kind of average. But if you add some of these inversions, the sun cannot compare, C over E, to the glory of B flat with its 3rd in the bass, glory of your love. And that's an F chord with the 5th in the bass, a 5th of that triad. And then here's an F with the 3rd. There is no shadow in your presence. No mortal man would dare to stand before your throne. See, those inversions just make you sit a little taller and stand up. And again, it's very anthemic. Before the Holy One of Heaven, it's only by your blood, and it's only through your mercy. Lord, I come. I bring an offering of worship to my King. No one on earth deserves the praises that I sing. Jesus, may you receive the honor that you're due. Oh Lord, I bring an offering to you. I bring an offering to you. The sun cannot compare to the glory of your love. There is no shadow in your presence. No mortal man would dare to stand before your throne, before the Holy One of Heaven. It's only by your blood, and it's only through your mercy. Lord, I come. I bring an offering of worship to my King. No one on earth deserves the praises that I sing. Looking at the theory of the song we just heard, it was in the key of F.